Hello beautiful faces, thanks for stopping by, whether you are new or returning. I am very excited for today's video. What I wanted to start doing were book series deep dives. Also thinking of doing author deep dives for authors that only write standalones, but I mainly wanted to start doing series deep dives. So after I finish a series, let's have a chat about it. Let's do an entire deep dive into the series, reading orders and all of that good stuff. So if you have any interest, then let's jump right into it. Today, the series that we are going to be deep diving into is one of my all-time favorites, the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. Now, I specifically picked this one because it's actually being turned into a television show. They are currently filming as we speak, so I thought that this would be a perfect one to start out with. This is one of my all-time favorite sports romance series. Now, I haven't read a ton of sports romance series, so I think at the moment I would say that it is my all-time favorite, because I think at the moment, it is my all-time favorite. It could change in the future, because I haven't read a ton of sports romance, even though I love them, but I can only read so many books in 1 year, and sports romance isn't like the only thing that I read. Anyways, I love this series. We are doing a deep dive today on Off Campus. I thought it would be the perfect choice, considering it's getting turned into a show. So, I wanted to start with this series. So, it is a 5-book college ice hockey romance series. So, following a group of friends, you have basically this group of 4 guys. They're best friends, they all live together in the same house, and they are on an ice hockey team. It's not that they're not mates with everyone else on the hockey team. I think the 4 of them are just like a little group of besties or whatever. So they all live in the same house. And you don't get a book for everyone on the team, you only get a book for one of these 4 dude besties. And then the 5th book in the series is like an epilogue novel, which I will get to that. Now, this is an interconnected sports romance series. So basically what that means, if you've never heard of the term interconnected before, you don't necessarily have to read it in order. There are Easter eggs, character crossovers, some tiny things that you may miss by not reading it in order, but you don't have to. I am still going to highly recommend that you do, because it was like the best reading experience. Like the couple after book 1, the couple from book 1 are like already a couple. So if you started with book 3, you get cameos from book 1's couple and they're already together. Like, do you know what I mean? And then you'd go back to book 1 and you'd find out how they became a couple. But some people have more of an interest in like reading it as it came out, because in book 1, that couple is not a couple yet, because that's their book, that's how they become a couple and stuff like that. So you don't have to read it in order. I am still going to highly recommend that you do for the best reading experience if you want like Easter eggs, crossovers and blah blah blah. So let's do a deep dive. Now, the order I think that you should read them in is the order in which I'm going to talk about them. Because I did say that even though you don't have to read them in order, the only thing that I recommend that you don't do not start with The Legacy, because that is the epilogue book. So you can start with book 4. Like, you can read these out of order. Just do not start with The Legacy, because that's the epilogue novel. But the other 4, you can realistically do whatever you like. I am recommending you do it in order, and the way that I'm going to talk about these books today is in my recommended order, which is just book 1 through 5. You start with The Deal. This is Hannah and Garrett's story. This is personally my favourite from the series. I might at the end of this, after doing the deep dive, I'll do like a what was my personal ranking for this series, because I think that'll be fun. But just know that The Deal is my favourite from that series. So let me read you the back of the book. She's about to make a deal with the college bad boy. Hannah Wells has finally found someone who turns her on. But while she might be confident in every other area of her life, she's carting around a full set of baggage when it comes to sex and seduction. If she wants to get her crush's attention, she'll have to step out of her comfort zone and make him take notice, even if it means tutoring the annoying, childish, cocky captain of the hockey team in exchange for a pretend date. And it's going to be oh so good. All Garrett Graham has ever wanted is to play professional hockey after graduation, but his plummeting GPA is threatening everything he's worked so hard for. If helping a sarcastic brunette make another guy jealous will help him secure his position on the team, he's all for it. But when one unexpected kiss leads to the wildest sex of both of their lives, it doesn't take long for Garrett to realise that pretend isn't going to cut it. Now he just has to convince Hannah that the man she wants looks a lot like him. So this has one of those fake dating kind of, or actually no, it's not fake dating, but it's like Garrett will kind of teach Hannah how to get the date that she wants. So Hannah has a crush on one of the side characters, Justin, and Garrett says, if you tutor me, I'll help you get Justin. But then Garrett falls in love along the way, Hannah falls in love along the way. Shouldn't have said fake dating. It's actually not fake dating. I don't know why I said fake dating. It's not. But that is the deal. The next book in the series is The Mistake. So I'll read the back for you. He's a player in more ways than one. College junior John Logan can get any girl he wants. For this hockey star, life is a parade of parties and hookups, but behind his killer grins and easygoing charm, he hides growing despair about the dead-end road he'll be forced to walk after graduation. A sexy encounter with freshman Grace Ivers is just the distraction he needs, but when a thoughtless mistake pushes her away, Logan plans to spend his final year proving to her that he's worth a second chance. Now he's going to need to up his game. After a less than stellar freshman year, Grace is back at Briar University, older, wiser, and so over the arrogant hockey player she nearly handed her V-card to. She's not a charity case, and she's not the quiet butterfly she was when they first hooked up. If Logan expects her to roll over and beg like all his other puck bunnies, he can think again. He wants her back, he'll have to work for it. This time around, she'll be the one in the driver's seat, and she plans on driving him wild. I love The Mistake. The Mistake is very underrated, I believe, because I adore this book. I adore this book. So this one has a different feel from the deal, but it's still very, you read this and you go, it's still giving that off-campus high. But this is kind of like a man groveling. Like, he's groveling. So he gets with Grace, then he fucks up. He wants a second chance. Grace is willing to give it to him, but he needs to work for it. Like, she's not going to hand out any freebies. And he grovels. He grovels! This is the best kind of groveling. Is in this book right here. The next book in the series is called The Score. Now, an interesting thing to note is that there isn't just like crossovers and friendship with the boys. There's also some crossover and friendships with the girls, because the girl character in this is named Allie, and her best friend is Hannah, who was the FMC from The Deal. Now, not all of the girls are besties, because Hannah and Allie, they're not necessarily friends with Grace. Now, Hannah becomes friendly with Grace, and maybe to some extent, yeah, like friends, because her boyfriend and Grace's boyfriend are friends, and blah, blah, blah. Like, they see each other a lot, but they're not like besties in the way that Hannah and Allie are. So, let me read you the back. He knows how to score on and off the ice. Allie Hayes is in crisis mode. With graduation looming, she still doesn't have the first clue about what she's going to do after college. To make matters worse, she's nursing a broken heart thanks to the end of her long-time relationship. Wild rebound sex is definitely not the solution to her problems, but gorgeous hockey star Dean De Laurentiis is impossible to resist. Just once though, because even if her future is uncertain, it sure as heck won't include the king of one-night stands. It'll take more than flashy moves to win her over. Dean always gets what he wants. Girls, grades, girls, recognition, girls. He's a ladies' man, alright? And he's yet to meet a woman who's immune to his charms. Until Allie. For one night, the feisty blonde rocked his entire world, and now she wants to be friends? Nope. It's not over until he says it's over. Dean is in full-on pursuit. But when life-rocking changes strike, he starts to wonder if maybe it's time to stop focusing on scoring and shoot for love. This is my next favourite, but I'm going to wait until I do like a proper ranking. So, I adore The Score. I adore every book in this series, okay, because this is just great. So, again, has a different feel, but it still gives you that same off-campus high that you should be expecting. I binged this entire series in like 1 month because I'm just obsessed with it. It's my all-time favourite sports romance series. So it follows the friend of Hannah. So this is Allie's story. So she's just recently broken up with her long-time relationship because in the deal, Allie is dating somebody else. And so in this book, she's no longer with that guy and she goes for Dean instead. This one is probably the most, I'd say maybe emotional sort of one. Actually, this and the deal are probably the two that are the most like emotional sorts of ones. I should have mentioned about the deal. Let me grab it. I should mention that the deal does have some triggers that you should look at because there are some things that they deal with in the deal that may not be for everyone. I'm not going to say what they are because I feel like that could spoil it for people who have interest in reading. And for people that love going into books blind, they've got no triggers and they're fine. But I just feel like with, maybe you should check warnings for The Score as well, perhaps. I don't know. I don't even know if there are trigger warnings. I don't know, maybe The Score is a little on the emotional side. I feel like it's different from the deal though. It is different from the deal though. The deal's very like, I would check some warnings just because there is something in this that may not be for everyone. And then like the score I'd probably just say is actually just the saddest of the series, more so than something you need to check warnings for. It's probably just, I would say it's the saddest of the four. I loved it though, but yeah, it is the saddest. Like, bring tissues. I didn't cry though. I don't know, sometimes I cry and sometimes I don't, it really depends. This wasn't sad enough to make me cry, but I have heard it's been sad enough to make others cry. It's like, maybe bring some tissues if you want. It's still fun, it's still lighthearted, while like the sad elements it's really only like an element. It's not the entirety of the book. I wouldn't call this like one of them like emotional romances. It's still just a fun hockey book, but it does have a little sad element like 3/4 of the way in. But I adore this book, and I love Dean De Laurentiis because he understands the number one rule. The buzzing best friend is not an enemy. It's a buzzing best friend, okay? So, we love Dean. Final book before we get to the epilogue is called The Goal. So, I'm going to read you the back. She's good at achieving her goals. College senior Sabrina James has her whole future planned out. Graduate from college, kick butt in law school, and land a high-paying job at a cutthroat firm. Her path to escaping her shameful past certainly doesn't include a gorgeous hockey player who believes in love at first sight. One night of sizzling heat and surprising tenderness is all she's willing to give John Tucker. But sometimes one night is all it takes for your entire life to change. But the game just got a whole lot more complicated. Tucker believes in being a team player is as important as being the star. On the ice, he's fine staying out of the spotlight. But when it comes to becoming a daddy at the age of 22, he refuses to be a bench warmer. It doesn't hurt that the soon-to-be mother of his child is beautiful, whip-smart, and keeps him on his toes. The problem is, Sabrina's heart is locked up tight, and the fiery brunette is too stubborn to accept his help. If he wants a life with the woman of his dreams, he'll have to convince her that some goals can only be made with an assist. This does have the accidental pregnancy trope. I will warn you, because I know that not everyone is a fan of that. So this does have the accidental pregnancy trope in here. I liked this book. This one was great. This one I didn't give a 5-star, but I still really enjoyed my time while reading this book. He is like a southern red-headed gentleman, and I do adore John Tucker because he is so sweet to his woman. Now, like I said, this one has the unplanned accidental pregnancy trope, so just like be warned, because I know that that's not for everyone. I actually don't mind it, depending on how it's done, but I didn't mind it in this book. This has other cool little crossovers. So, Dean De Laurentiis and Sabrina James are kind of like rivals. Actually, okay, rival may not be the right word, but like when they are in proximity of each other, they're like throwing jabs at each other and stuff like that. Like John Tucker tells his friend group that he's kind of got a thing for Sabrina, and Dean's like, ew, Sabrina, really? Like, you know what I mean? Because Dean and Sabrina do not get along. But Tucker and Sabrina, oh, they get along. I should tell you, this gentleman's name is John Tucker, and in The Mistake, the gentleman's name is John Logan. So they don't go by John, he goes by Tucker, and John Logan goes by Logan, because I think they didn't want to have two Johns. Also, John is quite an old-fashioned name, so not surprising. Also, Tucker really suits him because, again, he is southern. He's red-headed. It's the only casting choice I wasn't the biggest fan of when it comes to the upcoming TV show. Because the gentleman that is playing John Tucker is not a southern redhead, so I am a little annoyed at that. I am still very excited for the show, but just know that it doesn't plan to be a southern redhead, so I'm a little bit annoyed at that. Because I feel like they did get the casting pretty darn right. I just didn't love the casting of Tucker. It's like the only thing I didn't like about the casting was Tucker, because he's meant to be southern, he's meant to be a redhead, he's meant to be like pale as shit, you know, but like, anyways, I'm going off topic. I am excited for the television show though, because this is one of my all-time favorite sports romance series, so I'm like so excited that we are going to get to see these on screen. Lastly is The Legacy. Now this is an epilogue novel. This is everybody from off campus 5 years later. Let me still read you the back though. 4 stories, 4 couples, 3 years, not 5 years, 3 years of real life after graduation. A wedding, a proposal, an elopement, and a surprise pregnancy. Life after college for Garrett and Hannah, Logan and Grace, Dean and Allie, and Tucker and Sabrina. Isn't quite what they imagined it would be. Sure, they have each other, but they also have real life problems that 4 years at Briar U didn't exactly prepare them for. As it turns out, for these 4 couples, love is the easy part. Growing up is a whole lot harder. The international best-selling off-campus series returns with a collection of 4 novellas that provide the much-anticipated answer to the question, where are they now? I'm not going to tell you much about what is in this one because I reckon that this one is great to go into blind. Back of the book is all that you should get. So there's a wedding for one, a proposal for one, an elopement for one, and a surprise pregnancy for one. And I'm not going to tell you which is which. You just need to read The Legacy. Now, like I was saying, you can read these in any order. Just do not. This must be read last. Read The Legacy last. You'd be pretty silly to not read The Legacy last. But if you didn't want to start with The Deal, you don't necessarily have to. I am highly recommending that you do, because you're going to get the best experience doing it in order. Like, the author did release them this way for a reason. But if you had like 0 interest in The Deal, for example, you don't necessarily have to. So that is basically it for the deep dive. It's just really giving you an overview of what these books are about and the genre, the tropes and things that you can expect in these books. Now let's get into my personal ranking of the series. Now, in 5th place at the bottom, The Legacy. I like The Legacy. Like, it was great. But, like, it's just a collection of, like, novellas. I feel like this is at the bottom, like, default. Anyways, Legacy's at the bottom. I'm not going to get much into it. Spot number 4 is going to The Goal. Now, besides The Legacy, this is the only book in the series that I didn't give a 5-star to. So, The Deal, The Mistake, and The Deal, The Mistake, and The Score, I gave all of those a 5-star, whereas The Goal and The Legacy I only gave a 4-star. So, The Goal is my least favourite of the main books. So I don't mind the pregnancy trope, but, like, it's not my favourite thing ever. Like, I don't, like, look, I know I said that it was done well in here, which is what I meant by, you know, I actually didn't mind it, because I thought it was done pretty well in this. But it's not, like, my favourite thing ever to read about. Also, while reading The Goal, it just felt different. I don't know, like, when I was reading the first 3, they all had this same feeling I had while reading the series. Reading The Goal, it didn't give me that feeling, and it's really hard to describe. Don't ask me what the feeling is. Don't ask. I don't have an answer for you. But I was just reading this and I was like, it feels different. It feels different, but I think also because the female main character had, like, different mates and things like that. Like, basically, you've got Hannah and Allie that are besties. Then you've got Grace, that I think that Hannah and Allie become friends with just because all of their boyfriends are mates and stuff like that. So I think Grace eventually gets brought into the fold. Yeah, Grace does have a separate friend of hers named Ramona, but her and Ramona are having issues and stuff like that. Sabrina had her own 2 separate friends. She had 2 friends named, I think it's Karin and Hope. They were 2 mates of hers. And so, I don't know, she felt disconnected from the other girls, kind of, slightly. And I think that just made reading this book feel a little different. I mean, I obviously still like 4 stars. That's still a pretty solid, good rating. It's just in spot number 4. Also, out of the men, John Tucker is my least favourite man. Like, I love him, but he is my least favourite man. Spot number 3 is going to The Mistake. Now, I adore the top 3 spots because they all got 5 stars and stuff like that. I do love The Mistake, and I think that it is highly underrated. Like, no one's favourite seems to be The Mistake, and I know I'm saying that as a person whose favourite is not The Mistake. But, like, I don't know, like, I just feel like more people should like The Mistake more, because, like, The Mistake was really good. I absolutely adored this book, and I do love John Logan. Like, he has some faults, like, he's not my favourite. There were a couple of things that if this were, like, Build-A-Man, I'd take out of John Logan. But I 90% love John Logan as a person, 90%. So, like, he's doing pretty well. And he, like, the king, you want to talk, the king of grovelling. John Logan, hello! The king of grovelling. So he's in spot number 3 for a reason. Spot number 2 is going to The Score. Now, this is a book, this is like everyone's favourite. It's not, but it is my second favourite because it's darn good and deserves its, you know, silver medal, because I adore The Score. The Score, similar to The Mistake, where I like 90% love Dean De Laurentiis. There's a couple of things that I'd rather Dean De Laurentiis didn't necessarily do. But, like, actually, maybe I 95% love Dean De Laurentiis, because I think I do love him a tad more than John Logan. Not as much as Cat Graham. But, no, I do love Dean De Laurentiis. Like, I love him. I do. I love Dean De Laurentiis. He is great. I adored this book and everything about it. It was great. I loved Allie. Like, she was a tiny bit, like, annoying in the beginning, but, like, you get over it pretty quickly, because I do adore Allie as well, and I love her friendship with Hannah. Her and Hannah are, like, the cutest besties ever. Like, if your friendship's not like Allie and Hannah, then I don't really know what to tell you. My number 1 book is The Deal. Come on. My number 1 is The Deal. This is one of my favourite books of all time. Garrett Graham, the MMC in this, is perfection to me. I would not change a single thing about him. He's got the perfect amount of banter while also the perfect amount of caringness and lovingness for Hannah. He is the perfect man, in my personal opinion. He is my book boyfriend husband. I adore him. He is my favourite fictional MMC book boyfriend, whatever, like I call him book husband because he's my favourite. If I could only be with one fictional man, I would be with Garrett Graham. I know that I have a couple of dark romance men that are definitely like, oh, I'd consider being with them, but maybe I should say that if I could only be with one contemporary romance man, I would be with Garrett Graham. But if I had to pick like a normal man, because like dark romance men have like shit wrong with them, they all need therapy, they all need help. But contemporary romance men are like pretty normal men. So for a normal guy, I'll go with Garrett Graham. He is the blueprint, in my opinion. Some people may not agree with me. You know what the thing is I have seen some negative reviews for this series. I try not to though, because it's one of my all-time favorite series. And they really, like, for some reason, dislike Garrett in specifically. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's perfection to me. I do not see a singular thing wrong with Garrett Graham. I don't. I love this man. He's perfection. I don't see anything wrong with him. I love him. I'm allowed to love him. You are allowed to love your man, and I'm allowed to love my man, and my man is Garrett Graham. Okay? Because I adore him. This is one of my favourite books of all time. It is my favourite book out of the Off-Campus series, and I will admit, I am kind of happy that it is the first book in the series because it plans to be the first season of the television show, meaning I don't have to wait. Like, if anyone's favourite is the goal, they have to wait until season 4 for an adaptation. I don't. Season 1's going to be about them. I'm just so happy that we get Hannah and Garrett because I adore them. I adore them. I love Hannah as well. Hannah is a great FMC. She brings so much heart to the story. I love the banter between them. They are perfection. This book is just perfection to me. I love it. Well, that is it. That is the first episode in my series deep dive. Now, this doesn't plan to be something that I do often because it takes me a while to finish a series. And I only read a couple of them per year because I also like to read standalones and I like to read mangas and stuff as well. I will include manga series in this. Like, it's just series deep dive, whether they're Western books or whether they're manga. So just any form of series deep dive. But I thought that I would start with this one because it's getting turned into a show. And so I thought that like you could read these before the show comes out and be as completely obsessed as I am. So, this series is just going to happen quite sporadically because of the fact that, like, it takes me a while to read a series. I do have a couple that I could do because it's not as if this is the only series. I have read a couple of others. I just haven't read enough to the point where I could make this be like a weekly thing or something like that. Like, no. But I do have a couple of other series that I could do this for. A couple of others, because I've read a couple of others. But basically, that is it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you love a good book series just as much as me. And yep, that is it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.